Hi guys, this is a question that we want to cover today. So for this, the question says the figure below shows an isometric view of a shaft support. You are required to draw a detailed working drawing of the shaft support in third angle orthographic projection. Draw the full section of front view, full section of view, left view, and the top view, including a cutting plane line XX. Use a scale of 1:1. You may create and use layers. Insert orthographic projection symbol in dimensions according to SANS. That's the South African National Standard 10111 -1 specifications. All the holes cut through assumed dimensions that are not given are symmetrical. Show all hidden details. Yeah, so this is a question, guys. I want to put this to third angle orthographic, and I'm going to start by drawing the full section of the front view. Remember, when we draw a full section, uh, we cut we remove this front part here, right? We remove it and then view what's remaining, right? So if we were to cut with a knife here or a axe or whatever, a saw or whatever type of saw that we might want to use, uh, here we would see a cut because we have material. Then there, where we have a circle, we have an empty space, we have air basically, so we won't have a cut. Same as there, we won't have a cut, we only see cuts on the sides of those circles because that's where we actually have material, right? Where we have holes, we don't have material. Even there, that's the same. So I'm going to step, I advise that you take a screenshot of this drawing so that you view it on another device so that when I'll be drawing, you will just be looking at the drawing so that you don't get lost. I also advise that as I draw, you should also be drawing. You should open your Autocad and attempt to draw so that you learn faster. So here I'm going to start by drawing this 10 here, right? Then I'll draw the full length of the drawing. It's actually 100 because we see that we have a 35 plus 35, which is 70. 70 millimeters between the centers of those two small holes, plus the 15 on this end, which is that 15, the radius of the arc there, and the other 15 on the other side. They said we should assume symmetry. So that means also we have a 15. So 15 plus 15, we have a 30. Then we have a 70 in the middle. That gives us 100. The total height of the drawing is 28. The 28 shown there, plus a 10 to get to the bottom, which is that 10. Then we're given the diameter of that big circle is 50, so the radius has to be 25. We're also given that the diameter of the other circle is 30, so the radius is 15. The other one, which is the one inside, is 10, and we have a dip of 6 millimeters. Then that circle is located at 12. Its center is located at 12 from the top, so we have to take that into account. So we know that here the distance between that circle and that circle is 10 because we're 15, a radius of 25 minus a radius of 15. We get an offset distance of 10. For the ones inside, we get an offset distance of 5 because we're 15 minus 10. So yeah, and we're also given that that circle is a diameter of 6, which means radius is 3. For that circle there, the diameter is 12, so the radius is 6. So yeah, let's get to it, guys. So guys, I've already created layers, right? I've created layers. Uh, I've created layers with the following properties. So I've created annotation layer, I've created center and CPL, hidden line, section line, um, CPL basically means cutting plain line, right? Visible edges, that's for the edges of the drawing, right? So you create them by going to layer properties here, right? And then this will appear, and then you just be clicking on new layer there and creating your layers and changing your color, your line type, and your line weight, right? So yeah, so let's get to it. I hope you are looking at the drawing. I'm going to start so I'm going to set this at I'm going to restrict it orthogonally there, right? So that allows me to draw lines that are only horizontal and vertical, nothing else, right? So and then here I'll put it 25. I'll explain why once this part is complete. Here I'll put it 28. Here I'll put 50. I'm sure you know why we have a 50 there. That's the diameter of the big circle. Then we have a 28. Then we have a 25. And then we have a 10. And then you can see that this will be 100. So yeah, I put 25 here because I know that the full length of the drawing is 100, right? Let's just verify that, guys. Let's just verify that part. I just want to make sure that is the same as the other side. Okay, it's fine. So yeah, I put a 25 here and a 25 there because I know this is a 50, so I need a 25 on that side and a 25 on that side to make 100, right? So yeah, that's the reason. So I also know that from this point I have to offset, I can offset that line by 9 millimeters. Why? That's the first edge of the circle. Wait and see. So I'm saying that this is one of the edges of those holes that we have here, right? So this is the edge that is closer to the outer edge of the drawing. So I put it at 9 because I know that from that edge to the center, it's 15. Since we have that arc with radius 15, it shares the same center with these holes. So I have to subtract the radius of this circle, which is 6 millimeters, for me to get to this edge, right? And I have to go from this edge. I know they're separated by 12 because uh, 2 points that are opposite to each other on the circumference of a circle, right, are supposed to be, if they can be joined by a line passing through the center, then that length is equal to the diameter, right? So that's what I just used there. And then we can go to annotate, go to center line, select first line, select second line. You see you have your center line there. Let's change its color. We go and select the layer that we created for that. So we created that layer for that. Then right click, go to properties, then go to line type scale and change it maybe to 0.5, because we can see that it was appearing as if it's a solid line. It's actually supposed to appear like that because that's a center line, right? So you first have to, when you create your layers, you have to choose your line type as a center line, right? There are many center lines: center times 5, center 2, center times 2, center. You can choose whichever one you want. So I don't need to draw this twice. I can just mirror it to the other side. Mirror line passes through the center of those circles. And then I also know that from the top, I need to go down by how much? Okay, well, let's start with this part. Let's just go there. Once it says endpoint, we start dragging our mouse without clicking. We type 10. We know this 10, we know where it's coming from. The distance between the outer circle and the one that's just inside. Then we go down by a dip of 6. Then we go to that side by 5 millimeters. Then we go down to the bottom of the drawing. Let's do that. And then here we can select that there, mirror it. We don't need to draw it again, right? So mirror it to that side. Erase source objects, we say no. And then let's complete this part here, right? After completing that part, let's join this here. Let's join that, and that. Join. Just type join out of nowhere in your AutoCAD, and you'll see that it's now one line. So you have something like this here, right? So we also know that from the top, we need to move by 12 to get to the center of that small circle that's somewhere there. But let's move by 9 because we know its radius is 3. So we want the first edge. So we know it's 9 from the top, since the center is 12 from the top. And we'll have something like that. Then let's offset that line by 6 millimeters, the diameter of that small circle. And we'll have something like this. Let's now put its center line, right? So annotate center line, select first line, select second line. We have something like that. Then what we can do from here is we can select that line, go to properties, go to line type scale, change it to 0.5, enter, and we have something like this, right? So now, yeah, I think that's it. What we now need to do is we need to edge that, right? So go and select the edge layer, the section lines layer. Then we go and select a suitable edge pattern. For full sectional views of machine components, I normally prefer using this one. I also recommend this one here. It's called a NSI 301. That's the one that I recommend. So you're going to have something like this here. Something like this, right? So after putting that, you also need a center line there. Let me show you guys. You need a center line there. So let me go down by 5 millimeters, and then there maybe by 50. Okay, let's just keep it where it is, but let us change its properties, right? Let's change its line type scale to 0.5, and we have something like that. So okay, it doesn't change. So if it doesn't change, go and change it to something else, maybe 0.3. Yeah, I think that worked fine. So we have something like this. So after drawing that, let's go ahead and draw the top view, right? So for the top view, we know that we're going to have a circle. So go and I've selected the layer. I've selected the visible edges layer because I know my circles are going to be appearing. We're going to be seeing them from the top view. So let's move up by maybe by 100, and then from there, the small circle, that one is 12 millimeters, and I know I have another one on the other side. So I'm going to mirror. I'm going to use mirror. About which point the center, right? No, this is not correct. The the diameter is what's 12, the radius is 6. So I'll move by 100, diameter of radius of 6. Then I'll say mirror about that point. Erase source objects, no. Then I go and select circle again. Then I select that. Then I want to put this circle for the arc. I've put that circle for the arc. Now I want to put the big circle that's in the center. So where I know that it's 35 from that one there. Um, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go and select that circle, right? And then go to the center there, to that center. Then drag my mouse away, then type 35. Then I know I have a circle there. Its radius is 25. And I have something like this. So what I now need to do is I need to draw tangents here. So it needs to be a tangent. We don't use quadrant, but quadrant will just help us have a start, right? So we erase the line that we drew using quadrant. Let's mirror that one using the center. Yeah, erase source objects, no. Then let us remove that part, and that part. So what we're going to do after this is we're going to copy that, and that, mirror it about the midpoint. Erase source objects, no. Then we have something like this here, right? Let's now offset this big circle to get the other circles that are inside. We know that we have to offset by 10 for us to get the one that's just inside. And to get the other one, we have to offset by 5. So it had 5. So we have something like this here, right? So after this, what we have to do is we have to draw that small circle that we know is somewhere there. So we know that we have to put maybe a line like this. Let's trim it there, and then let's select it, and then offset it to either side by 3 millimeters, right? 3 to that side and 3 to that side, and then erase the one that's in the middle like this. So yeah, and then what after that? We know that these are actually hidden lines. We see them as hidden lines from that view. So we have something like this here, right? So what we can do is we can then put a center line. First line, second line, and we have our center line. Then we can change its properties. Line type scale 0.5. Yeah, that worked. We go change its layer. Let's change its layer to that. Yeah, so we'll have something like this. We also need a center mark for that, and that. So we'll have something like this, but we can then change their layer to what? To that. Then we have something like this here, right? Okay, so from here, we're drawing the left view, right? So what we do is we connect that part with that part. What I'm drawing basically is this curved part, the line below this one. This one is from the top view, right? So I'm drawing the one that has this edge that we see here, right? So that's the one that I'm drawing, the one at the bottom basically. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to offset I'm going to offset that one there by a distance of 10 millimeters so that I get the one that's at the top at that corner there, right? So after that, I'm going to now draw. Remember these circles, if you are viewing from the left view, you'll see it as one circle because they're in line. So I'm going to the midpoint. Yeah, that's where that small circle is, right? We see it from the midpoint, but we see it as a hidden detail. So what we need to do is let us move this line. Let us move this line here by 6 millimeters. That's the radius of that circle. So I've moved it from this where the center is supposed to be to where we have our circumference, right? So I'm going to now offset it by 6 millimeters, by 12 this time, because I want the other one to be a diameter away, right? So I get it there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to annotate, then I go and select center line, then I select that line, select second line, then I have that there. I now need to change its properties. I need to change its layer to the center line layer, which is the one that I've created there. Then I'll change its line type scale so that it appears as a center line. That's very important. Otherwise, it will be seen as a hidden line, right? So, yeah. So once that appears, go there. It says 0.5. Then I check if that's okay. Yeah, that's okay. So we'll have something like this here. But that line and that line will appear as what? As hidden lines. So I need to change to the hidden layer, right? So I need to change that to the hidden layer, which is that one there, and I'll have something like this here, right? So after that, what I need to do is you don't need to draw this thing. You know it's going to appear here and it's going to pass through the midpoint, but no need for redrawing it. You just go there, copy it like this. So when you're in a test or yeah, whatever you'll be writing, for you not to waste your time, just need to do things smartly, right? So let's copy that. Let's copy it using the center, right? You can see that it's appearing like that. Then we'll do that. After that, what do we need to do? We need to change it, right? Need to change it what to that layer there, right? So we're going to have something like this. So is there anything else that we might be leaving? Yes, this circle here. It also appears there as hidden lines. There, since it's a sectional view, we see it as solid lines like that because it has been cut, right? Imagine a cup that has been cut in the middle like this. You will see those parts, like those cut parts, right? Yeah, so it's the same thing here. So from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw that small circle. I know that from there, I need to go down by, for me to get to its center, I need to go down by 12. Then its radius is 3. Then, yeah, that's the circle right there. So now what I need to do is I need to um, go to annotate, go to center mark, select that circle, and you're going to have something like that there. Then you select that, and then what do you do next from there? You change its properties, right? You change its properties. Let's change yeah, let's change the line type scale to what? To maybe 0.2. Yeah, it's gonna appear like that. Then we also change what? Yeah, let's change that layer. Then we see it like that. Now we just need to change that layer to center and CPL. Then maybe we can put some small parts here. So here's how we're going to do it. We're going to start from there, yeah, and maybe, or we might need to just extend this one first. Maybe up to there. And then after that we put the small one. We have to make sure it's in line, so that's why I started from there. So we have something like this here, right? So after that, we also need to do the same here, right? So we need to maybe do that, and we have something like that there. So that's basically what we need to do. So what do we have now? I think we just need to join. Okay, yeah, then we have something like this here, right? So okay, from here what you need to do is you need to dimension, right? So uh, I'm gonna show you guys how to set up dimensions. So I'm just gonna show you how to set up dimensions, what you need to make sure is on, and what you need to just leave as it is. Okay, so I've already set up my dimensions. I've created this one called dim style one. What I did is I started with ISO 25, right? Then I said new. Then it started with a copy of ISO 25, right? So then here I'm just gonna modify, right? But you should go and start with the copy of ISO 25. Let's start here on lines. So on lines, you need to make sure here on extension beyond dim line. What this means basically is I want you to check what happens here, right? So what this means basically is when you type, let's say 1, right, extension beyond dim lines, you see that that part has changed, right? It's now smaller. But yeah, so that's why I prefer 3.5, because it's close to what I would like it, what I would want it to look like on manual drawing, right? So basically here uh, you are drawing on a computer, but you want your drawing to appear as it appears in manual drawing, right? Because if you are to print it, for example, it has to appear like it was drawn manually, but it was drawn using a computer. So the other thing that you need to change is where you see it says offset from origin. I want you to check what happens here. If I put it on 0, check what happens here, right? So you see that it's attached to the drawing. So you wouldn't want your dimension lines to appear as if they are attached to the drawing, because they will look like they are part of the drawing. So you need to leave a small gap there. Normally use 2 millimeters. So you will have something like that, which is perfect. Then the other thing that you need to change, yeah, so here I think all is well. Let's go to symbols and arrows. You need to change your arrow size to 3. By default, I think it's very small. I'm not sure. Okay, I think it's 2.5. So you need to put it on 3 millimeters. Then you also need to do what here? I think, yeah, you need to, where it says center marks, you need to put it on none, right? Because if it's not on none, if you say mark, you'll see that you have something like that appears, that dot. So if I do this, it disappears. right? So the other thing that you need to make sure you change is your offset from dim line. That's just for the text. We're on text now. So your offset from dimension line, your text should not sit on the dimension line like that. So that's why I prefer putting 1.5, and you can see that it's away from the dimension line. Then let's go to fit. On fit, you need to make sure here it's unticked, because if it's ticked, you're going to have something like that. So it looks neater when it's like this. Just leave it like this, right? So yeah, it's for this arc here. So it looks neater when it's like this, right? So uh, on primary units, I prefer leaving it as it is, 0.00 like that, because it tells you when you have made a mistake, right? Imagine when you fail to click on a certain corner and you just maybe miss that corner. Your dimension is going to be different. But then if it's rounded off, then it will tell you that it's correct. So that's why I prefer leaving like that, right? So yeah, that being said, uh, how to dimension, I'll just do one dimension for you guys, and then the rest you can try and do them by yourselves. Maybe let's say 2 dimensions, right? So remember to select your annotation layer when you dimension. So maybe you want it to be something like this. But remember, you need to select your annotation layer, right? You need your annotation layer. So let me change this to annotation, and then I'll also change my layer there to annotation. So I'm also going to do dimensioning of an arc. I'll just dimension that arc there because I want to show you guys something that you can do, or maybe I can dimension those circles, right? So that you can see how it's done. So here I'm going to go to annotate, then I go to where I have dimensions there. Here it says linear. I can to say because you can modify your dimension, right? So I can choose here to say let's say diameter, right? Let's choose diameter. Select circle or arc. I'll select that. But then here I need to mention that I have 2 circles. I don't need to dimension this one. I just need to dimension one, but I need to mention that. I'll select my dimension, then I'll go to properties. Then on properties, I'm going to go down to where it says dim, prefix, and suffix. I'll look for dim, prefix, and suffix. There we go, right? So where it says suffix, so here where it says prefix, right? Where it says prefix, I want to say 2 holes, then diameter symbol, I'm just going to put what? Percent C, right? Then, yeah, space. So it's 2 holes, percent C, space. Don't forget this space at the end, right? I put a space here. The reason for that is I want there to be a gap between my diameter symbol and my number representing my dimension, right? So that's how you do it. So this just means I have those tools, 1 and 2. So now what I want to do is I want to try and dimension this arc also for you, right? I want to dimension this arc. So I'll also explain how I put this thing here, right? I'll explain how I put the section XX line, right? So that you can also try and put it by yourself, right? So I'll just explain it. So now what I want to do is I want to dimension that arc. I'm going to go to annotate, then go to there and then choose radius, and then I'll go to my arc there, but I don't want to like I just want to dimension one. I know I have two arcs, but I'm just gonna dimension one. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to change there, right? I'm going to change there um, to annotation layer, right? After changing to annotation layer, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that, and then I'm going to also go to properties for that dimension, and I'll look for dim prefix and suffix, which is there, and then I'm going to say 2. For this one, it's a bit different because it's a radius, right? So it's 2 times r, uh, then enter. I mean space, then enter, right? And you're going to have something like that there, right? So this just means you have such arcs. Then what I'm going to do is okay. There's also a dimension that I want to show you how you do it. It's this dimension here. This dimension here. You have to click there to avoid putting a dimension inside the drawing by clicking there. We have to actually put it somewhere there, right? And then we do that. So we click on that point. Then it's gonna appear like that the moment you drag it out. So you have something like that there, right? So yeah, I had said I'm gonna show you how I put that section XX line, right? So I'm going to go and select my layer for that, which is the center and CPL. Here's how I do it. I go and select polyline, right? So you might notice that here I didn't draw it all the way to there. I just joined with the center lines that were already there, right? I just joined it. In fact, only drew this part, right? This part here, right? Because if you look at this side, I can actually erase this part here. I can erase it, right? What I did was that I only drew this part here, and then I mirrored it to the other side, right? So I just went to mirror. Then what I did is I mirrored it along the center, right? So I have something like that. So I'm just going to show you how to draw one side, and then you're going to try and draw the other side by yourself. So what I did is I selected polyline, right? Polyline. And then I went to the midpoint of that center mark there, right? Then I did this. Then I extended it until I was somewhere there, right? Which is outside the drawing, right? So it's like something like this here. Then I clicked, right? And then I went to where it says width here. Then I clicked there, and then I said starting with 0.5, and then I said enter. For the ending width, it's also gonna be 0.5, so I don't need to type it again. I just say enter, right? So I'll have something like that. Then I'll type 5 because that's the length of that segment, that is a width of 0.5. After that, I go back to polyline, and then you can see that when I put my polyline, it will, the midpoint is at the center. There is no, I cannot uh, uh, put it somewhere there because I don't know where that edge of the polyline is. So what I'll do is I'll go to the midpoint. Once it says midpoint, I'll start moving away. Then I'll type 0.25. That's a half of that polyline. Basically, it's taking me from the center to the edge. Then I'll say enter, right? So I'm now sure that I'm starting at the edge. I want an arrow there, so I'll go to width. Remember, an arrow starts with a point which is 0, and its width increases uniformly, right? So 0 enter. Then I'll say maybe 2.5. I want the arrow size to be 2.5, its width to its ending width to be 2.5. Then I'll type what? Maybe 5 millimeters. Then enter. Then I'll have something like that there, right? So now what I want is to go back to width, because I now want that tail of the arrow, which is a width of 0. So it's 0, enter, enter. Then you have something like that. Then you say 7, maybe. And you're going to have something like this. So yeah, I had already also set the text. I set the text for, I had set the text for the label of the full section XX and for the CPL, right? So basically what I did is I started with standard, right? Let me just show you. You go to standard and make sure it's blue like that, and then you say new, right? Let's just say style 1. My text height, I want it to be 3.5. Don't click on annotative, don't select any annotative, don't click annotative, right? Basically what annotative does, it like scales our text automatically. I would say that. Yeah, so I don't recommend that because it confuses many people. Sometimes it's easier to like it's difficult to reverse things and stuff. So I think that's quite complicated. So I think what you need to do is you need to use, if it's a drawing that fits on an A3 paper, right? Like this one here. Its dimensions are small. You can see that its biggest dimension is 100 millimeters, which is about 10 centimeters. That fits on an A3 paper. So we don't really need to use a different text type, because we know 3.5 millimeters actually appears nicely on an A3 paper. But then let's say you are drawing a plan of a building. Let's say one of its dimensions is like 50,000 millimeters, 50,000 millimeters. That means you would need to make your text height maybe something like 2,000, so that it will actually show, right? So yeah, so that when you actually change your scale, the text height will also scale to the paper. So yeah, that's what I recommend. So that's how you create it. Then you just say enter, then you will say close, right? So that's basically how you do it. But myself, I've created that for the cutting plane line, right? So I'm gonna say close. Then I'll go there. Okay, I can go and select CPL. Yeah, so I'll go there and just do this, and then I'll just type X, enter. I can move it, right? I can move it so that it goes uh, somewhere somewhere there. Then after that, that's when you can actually mirror this, right, to the other side. So you can actually mirror this to the other side by doing this, right? Then you're gonna have something like that. So that's very easy to put. That's very easy to put. I hope you guys understood it. So yeah, I think that's fine, right? So yeah, here I also need to put text to label my drawing, to label that drawing there. I need text there. So you only label one, not all of them. The one that you label is the section XX. But if it was just orthographic projection, you're going to have to label the left view, the top view, and the front view. This one is the full section of the front view, and it's section XX, right? So yeah, you put the section, the cutting plane line there, right? And here you put the section lines, the H basically. So that's what you do there, right? So the other thing that I would like to show you would be how you can represent the diameter of that big circle. Instead of representing it there by following that procedure that I showed you guys of going there and saying diameter, you could do that, right? It works. You could do that and go and do this. And remember to change the spacing here. So if you want to change the spacing, you would just go to properties and go and say yeah, you look for dim prefix and suffix, right? Yeah, there, right? Then you just say percent C, then space, then enter, and you see that it has changed. So yeah, you could do that, but let's say you didn't want to put that one there. Maybe you wanted to instead put it there. Maybe you wanted to dimension that part instead. Dimension that part. You would go and select that dimension, right? And say dim prefix, right? Then you go and say percent C, then enter. Then you're gonna have something like that. I mean space, then enter, right? So you're gonna have something like that. So yeah, that's also fine, right? So if it's a circle, you must remember to indicate that it's a circle. It's not a line. It's a okay. From this view, we see it as a line, but it's in fact a circle. So that's why we're putting that diameter symbol there. So I think here we are done. I don't think there is anything else. So I'm going to end this video here. I'm going to end this video here. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. May you please like, subscribe, and share so that it also helps others. Thank you so much.